Well, good evening, everyone. This is Tom here, and we're starting this a few minutes early. And I'd like to say hello to everybody in the chat. And the first one in was Wigwag Workshop. How you doing tonight? He gets the cookie tonight. Stormy Sky Rail Productions was second in. Then Dwight Curley. How you doing, Dwight? And John from Schuylkill Valley. How you doing, John? Kansas and Colorado, Firestorm and Rail Fan. How are you tonight? Glad to see you in here. Artie, I sent you an email for the link. I don't know if you got it. How you doing, Artie? How's your teeth feeling tonight? And let's see, Jim Tedesco. How you doing, Jim? Glad to see you in here. Can everybody hear me okay? Okay, glad you all can hear me. We'll just give it a few more minutes, see if anybody pops in the basement here. How's everybody doing tonight? Hope everybody's well. Worn out. Yeah, it's been a busy day. Okay, guys, it's 8 o'clock, so let's get started here. So what I've been doing lately is a lot of 3D printing. That's why I'm broadcasting out of my office today, because I got some 3D printing to do. But I just wanted to go over a few things with you all. On Monday night, we had a very severe weather storm here in New Jersey. Hey James, how you doing tonight? Good to see you. And it was thundering and lightning, and the rain was coming down really hard. Visibility outside was almost zero. So I look outside the window and I see this guy standing out in the middle of the street in the pouring down rain and thunder and lightning. And I go, man, this guy's nuts to be out there in that kind of weather. So then all of a sudden, my lights flickered for about a millisecond. And then I look outside and there's no lights. Everybody lost power. And I have Tesla batteries on the side of my house, and that powered up and everything. I was working in the train room when this happened, and had the trains on, and they didn't even hiccup. So that system works. Hey, Tammy and Ray, how you doing tonight? Glad to see you in here. And so I couldn't believe this guy standing out in the rain. So I was almost about ready to call the cops to say, hey, this crazy guy standing out in the rain here. Then I look out again, and then there's a woman there standing with him. I go, what are these people, crazy? So that was the funny thing for today. Couldn't believe that they stand out in the street there in that kind of weather. So then I have, I'm working on my signals, and I made 3 of them for a turnout that I had, and I put them in, and 2 of the 3 worked, and the third one didn't work. Wasn't getting no lights on the signal, and so I took it apart, tested it, still no lights. Then I put another signal on it, on the system, and that worked. So after some more troubleshooting, I found out that the voltage on those LEDs that were in that signal was higher than the requirements for the NCE lights. So that took a lot of time and figuring out, but I got that working. So that's that took up a lot of time. And then I've been 3D printing, and the project I'm working on, I've been working with Jim Tedesco on for over a week now. We've been working on creating crossing signals for when the road goes over the tracks. So that's what I'm printing now, the parts. But this is one that's almost finished. This is a cantilever bridge, and it has 2 signals there. There'll be red LEDs in there, and this goes over the road. And then this is the post. This is the crossing sign that'll have printed on it, you know, railroad crossing. These are the 2 lights that go on the mast, and they'll have red LEDs in them. And then this is the arm, if I can get it on there right. That'll go, I got it backwards, but it hooks up onto the pole, and then it goes up and down. And I've been testing this out, and I think I got it. I think I got it backwards. Yeah, I got it backwards. It's supposed to go this way, and then it'll go up and down like that. And then we got to figure out where to put the wire, so whatever actuator you have underneath will lift up and down the gate when the train goes by. So that's that. What I'm printing right now are the arms on the printer behind me. I got a couple more to make. I have 6 roads totally on my layout. Actually, I have 7, but 1 I already have a crossing on it. But the other 6, I don't have anything there but a little railroad sign. And so I want to protect them now with the gates and stuff. So I got 6 of these. So you have to make 2 of these for each road, and 2 of these for each road. So it's like 12 pieces and a lot of parts, and some are duplicated and stuff like that. So this here part, I had to drill out the hole on the bottom. It's a little tight right now. There it goes. And that hole there, if we can see it, was for this post, and it wouldn't fit in there, so we drilled it out. So then Jim helped me today up on Tinkercad. I couldn't even upload it on Tinkercad, and Jim was able to. And then we made this hole big enough to hold this post. So I printed them on my rosin printer today, and then I tried to drill out the hole, and it cracked. So I put it back in the cure machine, and then it kind of sealed it up. But I wanted to make the hole the right size. That way I don't have to drill it out. And right now I'm trying to correct the errors on that file, and it's taken a long time to do it. So the next part of that is getting the electrical parts and stuff like that. But after I get all the parts printed, I'm going to paint them all. These will be like silver. This will be silver, but the lenses are going to be a different color. I'm going to paint them black. That help bleed out the light. And these lights here will be black. And this is going to remain white with black letters on it. And the arms are going to have red and white stripes on it. And I might paint this silver too, I don't know. But the armature, the motor, that's this little thing that's on here. That guy there, let's see if you can see it. That guy there, he's going to be painted black too, so it'll stand out. So that's what I've been working on the printing for. And so, like I said, next is to paint them after I get them all printed, and then I'm going to work on the electronic part of it and go from there. I think I might use tortoise machines to move the arm up and down. I did that on my other one, so I'm going to wait and see. Hey, Vinny, how you doing? I'm going to bring up the guy who's in the basement now. Good evening, Artie.
Yeah, mate, how are you?
How you doing? And also, I got still waiting from DCC Concepts on my Cobalt IPs, digitals. They're still on back order. And so that's what's holding up the completing of my yard. But I got other things to work on, so that whenever that gets here. I also got an update on my JMRI video that I did the other day. I now have JMRI working off of web, so I can bring up a browser and see my JMRI panels, and also I can do it remotely. So I can bring up my JMRI panels no matter where I am, and I could run trains from there if I wanted to, because on my phone, I have the cameras. I could watch what's going on through my phone cameras. So I got that all set up. That's another thing I was playing around with, and that worked out really well. And it's pretty cool how you have a web browser. So if anybody comes to my house and they want to look at the JMRI panels, they can go on their phone and type in the URL that I give them, and then they would be able to see the panels, and they can click on the turnout and change the turnout, or hit the sensor icon and make the block active or inactive and stuff like that. So it's pretty cool stuff. And this was pretty good. I see somebody else came in here, Ray Ron VR, how you doing? And so that's what I've been busy with. I've been on vacation for 2 weeks. This is my second week. Got a couple more days left of it, and been playing around with all kinds of things here on my layout, trying to get things working and stuff like that. So that's just a few updates from me. I think I covered everything. And so what's up with you, Artie? How you doing?
Recovered a little bit. Had the last of my 3 teeth taken out. Was it Tuesday my time, Monday your time? So yesterday I had a day off. It was raining outside, so I had to go around, do a bit more running around and try to find the pits for the roundhouse. because I'm going to be putting the lights into them somehow tonight. We're just taking the tarpaulin off the modules that are outside. I've got to do some soldering and whatnot out there and last of the timber work, and I need to get it in before Sunday because we get about 2-3 days worth of rain coming towards us. So I want to get that inside, get it out of the weather. I just about installed all the turnout motors. A couple of holes a bit out of alignment, so I've got to go out and fix that up and then hook the harnesses up to it and work out the plugs, which wires go where, and that one's going to be pretty much ready to be installed once I put the rails up. But I've got to get the roundhouse done first.
Yeah.
So it should be all. If I don't get any interruptions, I should have it all back inside the room this time next week. Yeah. And have trains running on the top section too with the test run. So,
Yeah. Everything takes time, Marty. Everything takes time.
We just had some nasty weather here. Like yesterday, we had rain here. I had one clear day where it didn't rain, so I quickly got out there and put the what's his name, the turnout motors in, and I did that, and then once I'd done that, the day before that, we had about 2 days worth of we had about 36 hours of strong wind.
Yeah.
And I had the tarpaulin all tied down and everything else, but the wind was that strong. Okay, the module's not heavy, but I had the tarpaulin and it's sitting on those portable plastic tables. It lifted the whole thing up and moved it nearly a foot.
Yeah.
And the wind was coming like from the other end of the house, but just the way the winds work, it just lifted it up and moved it. So apparently we had the strongest wind in this area from along the East Coast here. I mean, we did get smashed this week, but what can we do? It's that time of the year. It is winter.
Yeah. Well, it was a little windy here on Monday night when it rained. And like I say, that guy standing out in the street, I don't understand what he was doing in the middle of the street. Especially around me, there's trees. Okay, and what does lightning get attracted to? Trees, right? And he's standing right there in the middle of the street. I go, obviously he has no clue what could happen. And matter of fact, I got an alert on my phone about severe weather.
I'll give him to.
If you do not have to, do not go out and drive on the roads today.
But people still do.
Yeah.
Oh, I've got to do that. I've got to go and do it. No, you don't. You can stay at home for a couple of hours. Yeah. And the thing that you see, when I'm in the United States, one thing that I'm really worried and concerned about is the tornadoes can come out from nowhere. That's something we don't have here. Right. We get warnings of strong winds.
Yeah.
Right, or cyclonic winds and strengths and whatnot. We know how to prepare. It's totally different to a tornado. Like, I had everything secured. Well, I thought I had everything secured, but reasonably everything is secured out the back.
Right.
So if the wind comes in, it's not going to get blown around and smash my window and next door neighbour's window.
Right.
But it was like 2019 here, 2019, 2020, just before the showstopper hit. We had those bad bushfires here. People were told, don't go out travelling because we don't know which way these fires are going to hit.
Right.
The businessmen down the coast said, the fires are nowhere near here. Come down. We need your money.
Yeah.
While the authorities say, don't do it.
Right.
So they all went down the coast. The fires started coming down towards them. They got trapped. So instead of fighting the fires,
They had
the
a rescue
emergency
them
was
people.
trying to get them out.
Yeah,
There was one lot down in Victoria, down on the other side of the border, at the Christmas time. Some of my nephew and the family members go out to the east side of Victoria, which is down on the bottom part of the mainland, the bottom corner, the bottom eastern corner. It's beautiful camping down there. The fire authority, the police, and emergency services turned around and said, "Look, guys, there is a big bushfire up in the mountains. We don't know which way it's going to go, but it's big. We
right.
advise you guys to pack up and go home. In other words, go back to Melbourne." Well, so many of them decided, well, if the fire's up there, we're going to go down the other corner. And they got themselves trapped in there. So they started blaming everybody else except for themselves.
Right.
You know?
Like in the wintertime, when it snows and stuff like that, sometimes they call a state of emergency. That means you can't go on the road. But you still see people going out on the road. They don't pay attention. They don't pay attention to anything.
Yeah.
And if they get caught on the road, they can get their car confiscated and they get a severe fine for being out in an emergency situation. Only people are allowed out are people of essentials like police, firemen, doctors, nurses, those kind of people that need to get to the hospital, like that.
Yeah. And it gets so frustrating, like you see with the floods and everything else. It's mainly the city people that are doing it. Sorry, no offense, but it's mainly the city people here that we noticed. They get told, with there's flood warnings, there's this stay at home. If you don't need to travel, stay at home. You're going outside, you're clogging up the roads for emergency services, going outside trying to rescue your life. You're going out there, you're putting other people's lives at risk.
Right. Yeah, because the fire people or the emergency people, they're at risk because they're out there too.
I was in the air wing for a long period of time. And of course, we done a lot of water searches. And as a lot of you guys know, the majority of the towns are on the beach side, on the ocean side. So we get updates like if there's a storm coming up, there's warnings within 24 hours, whatnot. Look, boaters, don't go out in the water. Swimmers, don't go out in the water. Don't go to the cliff faces. They get warnings continuously and get bombarded. But they still go out and have a look. They'll still go, oh, no, she's right, we'll go. And then they get stuck. And then we get caught in. I mean, there's 4 of us in the plane. It wasn't a big plane, it was 4 of us. They're expecting us to go up there to look for them in a wind that, in a strong winds, in a plane. You're getting thrown around like...
Yeah, like you're nothing.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like when I lived in Key West, we had the same thing. I had a special radio, and that would give me like hourly updates of weather conditions for the area because I was always out on the water. I was on the water every day, and I had to rely on the weather conditions. If you don't, be in trouble. I mean, I got out in the water in a couple of storms, but they weren't, predicted, and they just came up out of nowhere. And on a jet ski and in a storm, you don't have a chance in hell.
No. G'day, Les. But see, like you guys remember during when I started in the live stream, especially when I used to go out, I ended up stopping. I ended up stopping the series for a little bit. I've got to go back into it now that things are settling down. I've got to go back into doing it once Anthony comes back. But north of the city, Les knows what the escarpment's like. He's lived down in here. It's cliff face. With all that water, we were having rock slides and mudslides. And we were advised not to travel up there. It's too unstable. So it's like with my next part of the trip, I'm like, well, they told me don't go up there, stay out the way. And we had to stay out the way. There was that many slides and keep the roads clear. I've done the right thing. But you get these people coming down from Sydney clogging up the highways.
Hey,
They get told to stay away. I'm going to go back there now that things are safer and stabilised and everything. I'm going to go back into it. Hey, Joe.
Hey, Joe Raider, how you doing? Hey, Les, how you doing?
Last one in the bar, he buys the drinks, Joe.
Yeah. So, but yeah, that's how some people are. They don't care. They don't care about anybody else but themselves.
Yeah, until and then when there's trouble, they go, "Why doesn't anybody come and help me?"
Right, exactly.
See, my next part where I finished off at Wollongong, my next part is I want to go up to one of the old coal mines, the old Corrimal mine, and I've been told there is an access track to it.
Right.
So I'm going to go up to it and do my next stream because that links up to the old. It used to be a private line that used to go down the mountain. So that my next stage, next two mines, which is a bit further up, that's the next stage of my tour. And gradually work up to a place called Stanwell Park. And then I start looking at all the other the old tunnels and the old rail and whatnot. I'm just going out to our subdivision's boundary, basically. You guys will call them subdivision, up to its boundary and then come back down again and head further south. Our line doesn't get documented as much in New South Wales, like in our state, like the main Sydney Melbourne line, or the main line going out west, or the main line going north. Right. For some reason, the South Coast line, my line, he has been left out in many, many, many books. Once I get the layout, I've been contemplating about writing up another book, doing a book myself for the trains that used to run on the South Coast.
Right.
Because there's not much literature, and there's people like Les and a few others that are still alive that can actually help me out with the
the details. Yeah, like, how things were, what they are, stuff like that.
See, Les, I used to enjoy doing Coal Cliff to the harbour. I loved that run, particularly during the summertime, because you used to have some good views by the beaches. Yeah, but I used to love that run. But that's all changed. The Coke Works are still there, Les, but the mine's gone. G'day, Ray. How are you?
Hey, Ray. How you doing?
Yeah. Just getting home. Well, good. Pack your bags and get your butt down here now that you've finished over there. You can come down here.
Well, hey, some people work late. Some people, depends on what time zone he's in. Getting home might be 5 o'clock for him.
Yeah, but we know where he's been hanging out.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, that's right.
Yeah, we know where he's been hanging out.
Yeah. Get ready for another print.
Yeah. Hey, Les, they got more dairy, especially at the old Coaldale Beach and a few other little beaches. There's a particular one before Ostermere Beach. Tammy fed him dinner. Oh, he got paid for his job. Well, he could have got fed here too. He's going to get fat. Yeah.
That's right.
Yeah, that's right, Les. Yeah, Les knows the beaches. Now he knows why I liked it, and there he's working out why I liked it on the run. It was a good little run. I actually enjoyed it because, yeah, it was windy or whatnot, but I actually enjoyed the scenery. I enjoyed the view.
Yeah.
Yeah. Wouldn't do it now, though. There's too many idiots driving up there now, particularly on school holiday time, because you get a lot of people from Western Sydney coming down to it, and you can't move. You can't move from. Then they bring all their rubbish and whatnot with them, and they're just trashing the joint.
Right.
putting parking restrictions up there, so I don't know how I'm going to get around with that. Because you used to be able to park your car in a couple of spots and go for a walk, but now they're doing 2-hour, 4-hour parking restrictions. I'm already fat. It's all right, Ray. You come over here, you can work it off. I've got the sauna here going. By the time you get here, the sauna will be on. Yeah, I'm fat too. I went to the doctor's yesterday, and she done me blood pressure and whatnot. She goes, "Your blood pressure's a bit high." And I go, "Well, I just had my teeth taken out, less than 18 hours ago, and I'm still in a lot of pain. I've got a billion things to do and stress and everything else. No wonder my blood pressure was high." So I only just got them taken the monitor back, but they had me on what is it, the 24-hour blood pressure monitor thing. Check out my blood pressure. So that would be interesting.
Yeah, I have a meeting with my doctor tomorrow too, but it's over the phone, so I don't have to go to the office or anything.
Yeah, well, I've got to go to the dietitian, so it's going to be interesting because you got no teeth to chew on anything, and yeah, you got no teeth, so you're limited on what you can eat. Yeah. Yeah, well, Liz, I know why your engines blew up near the Coldcliff pub. We know exactly why it blew up. You did it on purpose. I had a driver that did exactly the same thing out near Sejuna. He blew the motor up only to hang out with this bird over there for about 2-3 days until we got the truck fixed and towed. Yeah, I know how it goes. Yeah, my cholesterol level was up a bit too high, and she said my sugar level was up too high. Well, I don't know what scale she's looking at because I don't eat all that fatty food. I don't eat that much junk food. Well, hardly any junk food. I don't go to Macca's every day, 2-3 times a day.
Yeah, but doesn't take much sometimes.
No. Then it's something I got to get used to, buddy. It's something I got to get used to. Because I do have problems with the left-hand side of the jaw. So I see how it goes. It'll be another 6-7 weeks before I do get dentures, but I love my steak. So I need to get some teeth back. It's only going to be a temporary fix. So we'll get some implants later on down the track when money comes available.
Was it on your show on Saturday where I asked about switchers, engines, and somebody responded and it was what's his name? I can't remember. But anyway, I asked about engines. I said I wanted to get a switcher, but I wanted to know what numbers switchers are. Like SD7s, all that. Oh. Yeah, and I think it was your show that I asked it on. And then I finally found a GP7, which is a switcher. It's an Athearn Genesis, and it has a Dasami 2 decoder in it. That were my requirements anyway. So it was a GP7, and I looked up the GP7s, and they were built in 1949 by EMD, I think it was. And they said the GP7s and the GP9s, they rebuilt them a lot because they were a good engine to be able to rebuild.
Yeah.
And a lot of companies did that. Instead of buying brand new engines, they rebuilt them. It was cheaper for them. So it's going to be a great Northern number 611. I ordered it yesterday. It was shipped today, and it'll be here tomorrow or Friday, I guess. So feet from my yard.
So the only engines that we had here that they modified a little bit were the old Alcos. They modified that, and the series EMDs, they actually repowered the old EMDs with newer motors in them.
Yeah.
The shell's still, the cabs are still the same. They slightly modified the car body on the side for the newer motors, but they're still running them on the main lines every now and then. And yeah, hit the like, please. Yeah. But it's been funny because was it last year before, they actually okay, Vinny, take care, buddy. We'll try to see you on Friday.
Yeah, take it easy, Vinny. Thanks for stopping in. Appreciate it.
I might come in. I don't know. It depends on what the weather's doing. So I've got a couple of more things to do outside. So
like on Monday, I was watching Trackside Monday, Mike and James, right? And the power went out and everything, and the internet was on, and I still was watching their show, and I didn't lose. I had power. Nobody else around me, had power. I had it, but they didn't. So it was pretty good. The only thing that went off was the computer that I'm on right now, because that's on a UPS.
Yeah.
And plugged into the wall, right? And I really don't need to do that because the power stays on automatically. The batteries switch over automatically. But I said, I'm going to put the UPSs on here. The Tesla guy, he said, yeah, that's not a problem. You can do that. And it shut down my computer right away. Then I went into settings on the UPS, and I found out that I had the wrong option checked, and I unchecked it. So next time it happens, it should stay on for like an hour because of the battery. But the power only went out for like 20, 25 minutes. Then it was back on because I kept on looking outside, and I didn't see any lights. Then all of a sudden, I saw people's houses lighting up again. So it wasn't that long.
Yeah, I'm still waiting for the landlord to put the solar panels up on the roof on this house and the granny flat at the back. And I think what he's waiting for is trying to get a hold of batteries as well. So what it will do is it will charge up some batteries to store the power for us for the night time. But he's been also busy working flat out too, so he can't do two things at once because he wants to install it on the granny flat and he's going to install it on this house here. So if we have power failure, it's going to be good because we can still have power. Right. And the other thing is I won't be using that much. My power bill is going to come down.
Yeah, when I first got it, I lost power the neighborhood lost power for 2 days. I still had power. And I looked at my phone, I can see the consumption used. And in 2 days, that's having lights, computers, TVs.
Oh, Derek.
Yeah. Refrigerator on. Hey, Derek. On. And my consumption was less than 20%.
Yeah.
And the batteries only charge off of the sun. They don't go back to the grid to get charged. If there's not enough sun, then they stay wherever they are. And then once the sun comes out, then it pumps it down to that. And,
over here, the way our systems work over here, once it gets full charging and got excess power, it goes back to the grid.
Yeah, mine does too.
Yeah, and the grid buys it back off you.
Right, yeah, mine does too. Like, I have a negative credit with my power and light company right now. It's negative number. And once in a while in the wintertime, I get a bill from the electric company, maybe $3, $2. Because I have all the Christmas lights on. I have this running, that running. And, I still generate energy in the wintertime, but not as much. So it works.
I'm actually in loggerheads with my power company here at the moment with the power bill. And they've billed me excessive amount. I wasn't home for a while. I was away. So what do? Is I turn off the main power at home. I turn it off at the main switch.
Right.
And just to be certain, I pull the fuse out. Because we've got fuses in there. So I'll take the fuses out. That's to protect the house. In case something goes wrong while I'm away,
right,
there's no power coming in. Well, they just thought, well, there's something wrong with my meter. It's not reading enough power usage, so they worked on an estimate. They said, well, the estimate in the area is roughly about $300, but I'm living on my own. I go, hang on a minute. You're not working on the estimate. I wasn't home.
Right.
And it's a trick they do here. I wasn't home. I've been away from home for 3 weeks or a month. 2 months, 3 months. It was a classic one. I was away for 6 months. Oh, yeah, sir, but your fridge still uses the hot water system still is. Now, hang on a minute. My power is being turned off. How do I use power when my power is turned off?
Right.
Yeah, but your refrigerator is using power.
They don't have an answer for you. They just want to charge you for something that you didn't even use.
Yeah, but they said, your hot water system's using electricity. Your refrigerator, the power is turned off.
Right.
No fuses. We got the counts, like we got the big black counter fuse, which you usually sealed.
Right.
I brought the seal out and pulled that out because that's the main feed in. I mean, technically, I should be getting fined for it, but I said I had the big black fuse out.
Yeah. You have meters on the outside of your house, right?
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
I think they're digital now, but they used to be a spin dial, and you could watch it go around.
Yeah.
And then when my mom used to turn on the dryer in the house, it started going,
The meter box is shared with the landlord because he's got the meter reading for the granny flat in it.
Right.
And when they put an order to cut my power off, they're still getting money, but I'm giving them what I know my average is, which is about $120, $150 a month in power.
Yeah.
So I'm giving them that. Oh no, so you owe us an average of this. And I go, I'm not going by average. You haven't got anyone reading the meter. I'm not paying for it. I will cut your power off. The people that came out to take the power off go, no, you're not turning that off. And he goes, just put a padlock on it, we can't access it. And I go, oh, that's all right. There you go. It's got a padlock. Goes, all right, see ya.
Right.
Because I told them on loggerheads, they're not sending me out a bill. They've hardly sent me out a bill, but they're working on an estimate. And there was one time I was away from home for nearly a year. And I sent them copies of my passport saying I haven't been in the country. And you charge me for all that power. I haven't been in the country.
Yeah.
That went on for years.
I saw a hack for how to open up the dial padlocks. There's a way to do it without knowing the combination.
Yeah. Yep. Yeah, it's funny that, Les. Yeah, you get the smart meters, but yeah, they don't go out. They're working on an estimate.
Back in the day, the electric company, when I was married and had a house, my electric bill was through the roof. But they sent out a letter saying that due to the economy, we don't have enough servicemen to go around and check the meters. So we're going to start doing estimated electric bills based on your prior year's electric use.
Mm.
And that's what they did. But they informed you ahead of time, so you knew. And then if you owed more at the end, you'd have to pay it in one lump sum, or if you owed less, they would give you a credit, stuff like that. So it worked out, but at least they knew, you knew. Then I got on the budget plan, and I paid the same amount every month, no matter what I used. And then at the end of the year, if we paid more in, then they would credit it towards the next bill. They just put a credit on your account. If you owed, then you had to make a payment, stuff like that. But I had a 45-foot in-ground pool, Olympic-sized pool. It was a diving board on it and all that. That was running 6 months out of the year. I had a hot tub that ran 7 by 24. That had to be 104 degrees all the time. So the house was electric heat. So it was, yeah.
But the old house where I used to live before I came into here, and when I had my truck, I used to do welding and everything else. My power bill never used to get above $400 a month.
Yeah.
Okay, I can understand if I get $400, $500, if I was actually using it, yeah, fine, I'll pay for it. But why should I pay for something I haven't used?
Yeah, right. If you turn it off,
I turn it off and pull the fuse out.
Yeah, right. You shouldn't be making any use, right? If that breaker's off, all your appliances go off. They're not running.
Exactly.
No lights can come on. Somebody walk in the house and hit the light switch, they're not going to get a light to come on. They're not using any electricity.
Exactly right. I mean, yeah. But it's all right. They're still getting the money. They cannot turn around and say, "Oh, you're not paying your bill." They're still getting their money.
Yeah.
They're still getting their money. I mean, they're making a fortune anyway.
Yeah.
I mean, they just turn around, so they just put our power bill up, 24-25% here.
Yeah, they're making a killing.
Yeah.
Because they know everybody needs it.
Yeah, well, they say, well, we'll go green energy. It's going to be cheaper and everything else. So they could shut down the coal-fired power station. The price goes up through the roof.
Right. Yeah, they didn't want coal anymore. And there's plenty of coal.
There's plenty of. I mean, I have seen it in our area. I've got to say, since I've known about the coal industry in 35 years, 36 years, the way they mine the coal in this area has changed. They're not mining as much. And the biggest thing is they're not stockpiling as much as what they used to. Once upon a time, like Les will probably remember, the big giant stockpiles up at Westcliff Colliery, which is one of the main coal mines up here.
Yeah.
They don't stockpile anymore.
Yeah, I used to see those stockpiles here, and you don't see them anymore.
Yeah. Now they'll only mine it when the order comes in. When the order comes in and paid for, that's the only time they'll start digging it out. Next door neighbour, Ben from next door, he works at Tamil Colliery, and he says a lot of times he'll go to work, all he's doing is doing maintenance or twiddling his thumbs because the order's not come in.
Right.
But we're only transporting probably about a third of the coal that we used to, so it is getting. So they are using less and less coal.
Right.
It's sad because we don't see that many coal trains going up and down the mountain and whatnot, but
right.
Those are the times. I mean, eventually they'll even chop that third to a half where you're going to probably only have about 4 trains a day coming down the mountain.
Yep.
And what the technology is coming. But you still need metallurgical coal. You still need, some countries still use it for the power and whatnot, so you still need it. Who was it? I think it's one of our viewers here. Yeah,
that's right, Joe. We got a push here in New Jersey too. They want to remove all gas appliances from everybody's houses. Well, they're going to have. They come to my house with guys to remove my gas stove that I love because I like cooking on gas instead of electric, they're going to have a 357 sitting in their face. They're not getting in here to take it out. And these people are ignorant. You know, they just don't. They want everything to be, I don't know. But
We're going back in the Stone Ages. I mean, you might as well put a wood place fire back in the house.
Right.
Oh no, we can't do that because you're going to let off, smoke and all that up and heat the air up again anyway. So you're back to square one again. I mean,
no, well, you have to kill trees to stoke the fire, right? God help us if we cut down a tree. Cut down a tree, 20 pop up.
Exactly. I mean, yeah. Look, climate. The thing is, I agree. The climate is changing. Okay, we can all agree with it. The climate will change, and it has been changing for millions of years. We just got
long before we were here, and it's going to be changing long after.
What we got to do is, I mean, the planet produces its own pollution and its own toxins in the air. Right. What we got to do is we've got to learn to adjust. The planet was a lot hotter than what it is now. A lot hotter. I mean, we're still in the ice age.
What was it back in the 80s or 70s or something? They were saying how all the aerosol cans that were being sprayed was going to cause the ozone layer to disintegrate. What a bunch of baloney. These people are so arrogant that they think that we can destroy this planet. They think there's no way that if we all did one thing, that the planet would just gobble us up and then chew us out.
They got to get off their high horse because all they're doing, and the people that are pushing, is they're bringing in new taxes, more charges, and look what they're doing. They're making life more expensive.
Right. Well, here in New Jersey, it was in the legislation. Now, this is something that I talked about with my parents and friends back in the 70s. And now we're in 2023, and the legislature is just doing what I said they should have done a long time ago. And that was, why do people who are retired have to pay as much property tax as people that are working? Right? I said that. I said, if you're retired, you get 65, you retire, your property tax should be cut in half. You shouldn't have to pay for school taxes anymore because you don't have any kids in school anymore. Maybe you don't even have any grandchildren in school anymore, depending on how old you are or whatever.
Right? Yeah.
Right? So they passed it in the legislature, but the governor stopped it because he said, well, we don't have the funds to do this now. Okay? But he has a brand new $180,000 rug in his office.
Well, see, we look at this, even they're saying like with coal trucks. See, once upon a time back in the 70s and 80s, there was like about 200 trucks a day going down the coal loader. And you used to have probably about 6 coal trains an hour going down the coal loader.
Right.
I mean, nowadays it's got down to where they're only having probably about 10 coal trains in the 24-hour period and only about 200 coal trucks in a day in the 24-hour period because now it's 24 hours. But, yeah, that's right. That's right, Jim. We'll wipe ourselves out before the planet does.
Right. Exactly.
Hey, Mystic. Hi, Randall. But I mean, look, we've got a meteorite that just missed us last night. Who knows? Next time around, in another 4 years' time, it's going to hit us.
Right.
You know.
Hey, Randall. Hey, John. How you doing?
They want these solar panels now down out of Canberra, going down south towards the ski resorts. They put a solar panel farm in. Yeah, all right, fair enough. But you know what they took out in the process? They took out the apple orchard. something that we've got to eat.
The same people that want to do these things are the same people that are destroying things.
Mm. Yeah.
They're destroying things. We're not. What are we destroying?
Now, they were talking about putting a wind farm off the coast here, near the edge of the shelf.
Yeah.
I mean, I enjoy my view, but you're going to put them down with the strong winds that we get along the coastline here.
They'll be blowing into your house.
They'll be blowing into the ocean.
Yeah.
They won't be blowing in the house, but they're going to be blown over.
Yeah.
I mean, Les will know the big strong winds we get, the big strong gusts we get down here from the south, the southerly winds, even with the westerly, he'll just knock them down. I mean, yeah, there they are, the plook. Another one in the...
Yeah, the Jersey Shore, I forget what beach it was. They're putting these big wind farms out in the Atlantic Ocean, and then there's all the bleeding hearts. Oh, you're going to kill the whales and all the dolphins and all this, putting these things in, right? Well, all of a sudden now, after they start doing this construction, now you're hearing about, you never heard about this before, but now you're hearing about all the dolphins and all the whales that are ending up on the beach. This never happened before. At least we don't know what happened before. They never reported it. But now there's something that they're trying to stop. Blah blah blah.
Themselves for as long as I remember. But I mean, up around along this coastline here, it's the big main highway, particularly for the humpback quails. Like at the moment, they're migrating north into the warmer waters.
Yeah.
Soon they will start coming back down again. G'day, Happy Valley.
Yeah,
but
yeah, how you doing?
But look what's happened. When was I there? In 2009, with all the wind farms between Milwaukee and Chicago. How it's affecting the dairy farmers there.
Yeah.
And it's starting over here too.
Yeah. Well, today on my phone, I got an alert for air quality.
Yeah.
And I said, oh boy. But I don't care. My windows are wide open and I breathe in the air or whatever. But at work 2 weeks ago, when the fires were coming down from Canada and all the sky was all gray and everything and all that stuff, they closed down the university.
But I've got to say this much. I mean, they carry on here in Australia. Like, I've travelled abroad. When I look at, we do get pollution and pollen alerts for over here. But when I go in the United States, particularly in LA, you guys got a lot of pollution in the air.
Mm-hmm.
Europe's even worse. They actually got different type of toxins in the air.
Well, LA was the smog. We always knew about that there.
I mean, I remember my very first visit to LA, and I arrived there early in the morning, just as the sun came out, and there was that much smog. It took me a while to realize it was smog. I thought it was going to rain.
Yeah.
Does not sound like a model railroad. And we're talking about electricity that provides electricity to our trains, Heath. That's how we got onto this.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're 15 minutes behind the chat.
Right. Was that who made that comment? Heath?
Yeah.
Yeah, Heath. I was just telling him about that. I lost the area. Lost power, and how my system stayed up and my trains kept on running, even though the neighborhood, all lights were out in all the houses. That's what brought on this conversation.
Yeah. But I know it is what it is. I mean, we had the steelworks down in here discussing more power to run more trains. That's right, Ray. That's what we're discussing. the efficient way to produce electricity cheaply and affordable. I don't know. I mean, look, the Steelworks here. It was actually going to do a look. As you guys are aware, we don't transport our gases and oils and whatnot by rail like what you guys do over there. But Steelworks up here, they were going to do a power station. Like we know, the latest operation session I went to got cancelled due to lack of power to the day. Well, you see, there you go. See, you timed it well, Heath. That's what we're talking about: electricity backups. Now we all know how much gases and everything else that the steel mill will put in the atmosphere. Now, the Steelworks down here was actually going to use recycle all that gas. So they're going to use it all to fire up the new turbine power station, using up all the gases. But they need to go and get the money from the. We've got a kitty here in what we call the pollution tax. It's supposed to go in a kitty, like in a savings for new future green system. Now, what they want to do in the Steelworks, they needed the money. They applied for it. They said, "No, sorry, that money's gone somewhere else."
Right.
Yeah, it went to line on into another project, so they canned it. But the only thing we would have got out of that, there would have been so much power, it would have lit up our city itself.
Right.
It would have supplied the city some power.
Yeah.
That modelling the original 1904 IRT subway power station on my next layer. Jim, Heath, you are going to need to get a bigger house soon. With these ideas that you got coming, you're going to need a bigger place. The house up that side sold, but the one on the corner is still up for sale, so you can move down here.
Well, he has a subway power station. That's just a building. That's all that is.
Go live steam. No electricity needed. Yeah, but hang on a minute, Happy Brother. We used to have steam, but it produced too much pollution, so they got rid of it, but they gave us diesels. I mean, look at that cockatoos. They used to be all black once upon a time, and then they're gone white. Well, hang on, no, they were white and they're gone black. That's right.
And atomic energy, that everybody's afraid of that, so they won't use that. That's the cheapest.
It is. It is.
Now, like, my mom had to go to a doctor once a month, and it was in a different town from where we lived. And we used to drive along the Delaware River Road, go up to Stroudsburg, Pennsylvania. And on the left, we would drive by the Pennsylvania Power and Light Company on the left. And they had 3 towers that looked like nuclear reactor towers.
Yeah.
And we were always saying, hey, that's a nuclear plant. And they said, no, it's not. But it sure looked like one. I was only like 10 or 11 years old. And we heard about the accident that there was an accident out in Pennsylvania somewhere.
Yeah.
Where a reactor didn't leak.
Coot Island, or what was it? Not Coot Island.
I can't remember the name of it, but that was in Pennsylvania, and we as kids, I was a kid then when that happened, so we heard about all that, and then we drive by this place every, on the weekend, and we said, that looks like what that building looked like, because they were showing it on the news, and everybody was getting all nervous. Oh my God, it's a nuclear power plant.
Yeah, well, we got 5 power plants that look like that. Yeah. But the first one that I saw was down in Victoria, in the Gippsland area, where they actually had two of those types of power stations. And when you looked at it, I thought, oh, here's my friends work. My friends are working in that power station. I thought it was nuclear, but it wasn't.
Yeah.
It was coal fired.
The only thing I could think of is that they were
3
made.
Mile Island, there you go.
Yeah, they were made in a way that they could convert to nuclear if they wanted to. That because it looked just like a nuclear power plant setup from what we've seen in pictures and stuff. So.
Yeah, but it was so funny went there, and I see that, I hear it and see it all the time, and people talking about the coke works down here. Actually, it's a shame that we can't see it anymore. When they used to produce the coke,
right,
and they put him into the cars. They used to go underneath the quencher, and you used to see all the steam come up. And they go, look at all that pollution, look at all that smoke. I think that's steam.
Yeah.
There's nothing in it but steam. You go and past this power station and go, look at all that smoke and pollution. It's only steam.
Hey, I had an uncle that lived in Bethlehem, Pennsylvania, across the street from Bethlehem Steel.
Yeah.
When Bethlehem Steel was thriving, those furnaces were burning all the time.
Yeah.
And you see the smoke coming out of them and all this. And this was in a city. In the middle, they weren't out in some desolate area. It was in downtown Bethlehem. But that provided jobs for a lot of people. My other uncle, he was a welder at Bethlehem Steel for, I don't know, 50 plus years.
Well, that's why I put Wollongong on the map. It's the steelworks down here. Yeah. Okay, we had the coal mines, but it was the steelworks. And Les, he can vouch for it, the amount of fallouts and the smell. I mean, when they used to pour the raw iron down into 21 dump, the iron was wrong. That was a wrong mix. They put it in the dump to reuse it. You used to have this big red cloud of basically iron going up all over the air, in the air. Depending on which way the wind was blowing, if you had it used to be woeful, It
was a sulfur smell. That's what you smell, sulfur.
Yeah, from the coke ovens, you hardly smell it now. Yeah. Because they catch it all. But at a 21 dump, if you lived in Coniston or Mount Thomas or some of those areas like around the fringes of Wollongong, we used to hang our washing outside. Use the same. Well, that's right. They do, Happy Valley. Like we hang our washing outside, and depending on which way the wind's blowing, if the wind's blowing towards your direction from the 21 dump, you didn't want your washing outside because your wash sheets would turn to either brown or red.
Yeah, exactly.
You hardly get that nowadays. Right. Les can vouch for me. Look, there's a road that goes up along next to the coke ovens, and I've done that walk. Once upon a time, you used to be able to go there. It was spectacular during the night when, with the coke, when it was come off the mountain.
3 Mile Island. That's right, Jim. 3 Mile Island.
Yep. Yeah. When they used to run the coke out of the coke ovens, right, and you see that big red, almost molten, used to come out of that and into the cars. You could see it all falling. You don't see that anymore. Mm-hmm. Why? Because as they move the cars up along, you've got all this big, giant vacuums, everything else. It's collecting everything up. You don't see any of it anymore. Right. Not to mention the cyanide smell from
Well, my dad, he worked at a chemical company in the town where we live, and they made ammonia and all kinds of crazy stuff there. And my mom refused to wash his clothes in our washing machines. So he had to get him washed at work.
I learned early on, particularly when I was working for the same guy that Les did down here, and back in the mid '80s, and that it was still pretty dirty in the steelworks. Instead of me washing the clothes in Mum's good washing machine, I got an old one and done it all in the old washing machine, so I don't damage her other clothes. Don't do it anymore now. I just take it down to the laundromat. It's a lot cheaper and easier. Well, my mum hasn't done my washing now for way too long now. Yeah.
Yeah, they always come at different times, that's for sure.
Yeah. You see, Les, that's all gone now. All the ERS, all that ERS or Southern Copper or whatever you want to call it, that's all gone. All you see is all they managed to leave is a lot of the concrete slabs. That's all gone now. And Incitec, the fertilizer warehouse across the road from it, that's all coming down at the moment too. You won't recognise the place. We are getting a actually, I've got to go down there. I might actually do that later on something. No, I'm not. I won't do it this week. I'll do it next week when it's weather's crap. We're getting a new container terminal down here near number 6 jetty, and I need to do a follow-up photo of the new hydrogen plant that they're doing down here in Port Kembla, where the old coal loader used to be. Now, they're already laying the pipes for the hydrogen that's going to go along the eastern seaboard down to Melbourne. They are not going to transport it by rail. It's all going to go by pipe. It's all the piping underground. So, yeah, it's going to be interesting to see what's going to happen. I mean, okay, we're not going to have tanker trains, but they are doing a lot of work. So who knows? We might end up having trains running on hydrogen in the near coming future. 44-gallon drum and.
Yeah, John, I heard that too about Bethlehem Steel, and that was a huge facility.
Yeah. But see, the lot of people steel plants around the world, they've done exactly that, to repurpose themselves to specialize in particular types of steel. Like we've only actually had 2 for steelworks here that's got their own blast furnaces and that here now. And 3. We've got this one here, which is now the biggest out of the 3 that's still existing. We've got, and they basically produce plate here. Your plate steel. Then you got Whyalla, which is down in South Australia. That produces rail, beams, bars. That's what they produce there. And then they got, which is a private steelworks in Melbourne. They do the rebar. We do have mini mills here in Sydney that do rebar as well, the old Newcastle as well, in wire.
Yeah.
But that's what we specialise. But then you go over to Japan. They specialise in the hardened steel, where they do produce the rollers for rolling down steel, aluminium, whatever. Because they got hotter furnaces there.
Yeah.
Even the trucks, locomotive trucks and whatnot, they're sending them over to Japan now to melt them down for scrap. Germany, they specialise in specialised steel. rebars and whatnot, and that's what they spec in stainless steel. A lot of their steel is actually used in gas tanks
Mhm.
because of quality and the tolerances inside of the. Look, we took them up into Gladstone when they did the gas tanks up there, and the rebars inside of that. That's what they produce there. The steelworks in the United States, again, they specialise in something and to make up for the shortfall for what we don't produce. Now, BHP here, or our steelworks here, is tied in with a lot of steelworks in the United States.
Okay, Happy. Take
Okay.
care.
Yeah, I'm going to have to get going in a moment too, and that freezes the stream. Oh, okay. Yeah, so we're where were we? Yeah, so that's what our steelworks here is tied in with with some American steel producers. So they're all entwined somewhere together.
Right.
Then the fast 30. Yeah, it all depends on what you want. At least it's not Chinese steel. Chinese steel is pretty crappy.
Yeah, they don't make good steel there.
No.
They could if they wanted to.
Oh yeah.
They got they got the technology.
Hang on, I'll be back in a minute. I'm just gonna have a look. It just darkened down. I just gotta have a look at something. Back in a minute.
No worries. So how's everybody else doing tonight? I hope everybody had a great day today. And as you can see, my printer is still going, and it'll be going for a while. I got a couple more parts to make for this crossing gate project, and see how that goes. But everything takes time. What's the matter, Randall? Tired? Long day, huh? Driving all over creation? So who's all left in here tonight? Yeah, we had quite a few people here. Yeah, Joe, I cut my grass on Sunday here. Good thing I got it because Saturday it rained and Sunday it was clear, so I cut it on Sunday. This grows too fast. So how's Ray doing tonight? Hey, Dwight. Dwight, when you going to start doing some scenery on your layout? I saw you starting to do the mountains. How'd you make any headway with the mountains on that part yet? Wednesday roll call. Let's see. I've been repairing this one file ever since this show started, and it's still not done.
Okay, turn him up.
One of these long ones. Okay, Dwight. Look forward to seeing how that comes along.
Sorry, that was a bit of a false alarm.
Oh yeah, no worries.
Yeah, nice big thick cloud went over and went in the front of the sun. I thought, oh no, here we go. We've got rain coming. That they didn't say.
Yeah.
But, I'll give it another 10 minutes, but I'm gonna have to get going.
Yeah, it's pretty bad when you have to prepare for oncoming weather. You know what I mean? Like you shouldn't have to do anything. You know, your house should protect you from whatever conditions.
It's not that. The thing is, the way my layout is outside at the moment, half of it's undercover, the other half's out.
Oh, you got stuff outside that you don't want to get wet. I understand.
Yeah. I work. Look, remember that top shelf that I had on my layout? Yep. I've actually got it outside, and I've got to bolt it together so I can put everything together.
Right.
Place, and I'm doing all the wiring underneath. It just makes it easier out there than inside. And because it's all bolted together, right, so the way it's going to sit, half of it's undercover, the other half's outside. So when the weather turns, when it gets to rain, there's one half that's going to get wet, and I don't want to get wet, particularly now, because I've got the tortoise motors underneath it.
Right.
You know, so I've got to have that finished. We got today and tomorrow, which I do know we've got good weather. Saturday, we still don't know. Sunday, it's going to turn, but I want to have that finished in the next couple of days so I can pull it apart and bring it under cover. G'day, Papa John, how are you? So I want to get that finished, and I can bring it under cover, and I don't have to stress so much then.
Right.
It's ready to be. I want to get to the spot where it's ready just to put up on top. And like as you guys sending me updates, I've got the plugs, like the computer plugs, where I can just plug the wires together and it's ready to go. Because sometime towards the end of next year, I will be moving from you, so I want to be able to pull that layout apart easy enough to take it with me.
Right.
So I've got to prepare now. So when I do pull it apart and move to the new place, I can join it up together again.
Right.
Without messing around too much. That's why it's taking so long. If it was a permanent layout, I would probably just knock it all together and be done with it. But
right,
I can do it so it's portable.
Yeah. So you have a different situation because you're renting. And you can move anytime, right?
Pretty much.
The landlord can come in and say, "Hey, I'm selling this place, and you have to leave." You know, blah blah blah.
Well, that could be too, but there's no signs of that. I mean,
yeah, but I'm just saying that in a rented position, you don't know what could happen. Like that happened to me when I was living in Key West, Florida. I was renting a place, and the guy sold it out from under me.
Yeah.
And, I even told him when I went in there, I said, "Hey, if you're going to sell this place, let me know." Because I had a rent to buy option in my contract.
Yeah.
And he sold it, and I never knew about it. Then I get a letter saying you have to move out in 30 days. And now I'm in the middle of Key West. Fortunately, I have a great sister-in-law that lives down there, and she knew a lot of people, and she found a place, and then I got a place. So
Well,
But
before I got into the adventure to the depth that I have now, I sat down and spoke with the landlord like what his intentions are, because he's got the granny flat here. He's living with mum and dad, and he's making good money. He's engaged. He's not married. He's still single. And I want to know, when I seen what the writing on the wall is, I'm going to be staying here for a while. And this is way before the accident.
Mhm.
And I go, what are your intentions? Are your intentions is when you finish the granny flat to move in here and rent the back out? And he goes, no. I'm going to rent the front and back.
Yeah.
And I go, well, I want to know, what are your intentions? Because I want to settle down.
Right.
You know, I'll stay for as long as I need to, and able to, you know, until I can probably buy a house and whatnot, which probably I never looked at the accident, but it's going to, you know, I'll be here for a while.
Right.
And he goes, yeah, no problem, just settle down, and you know, we come up pretty good together, and I don't have to move. I mean, he ends up throwing me wire and everything else, and a few bits and pieces that I need. So
Yeah.
right to under the tax. So
Yeah. Yeah. There's, it's just more challenges when you rent versus when you own something.
yeah. And I've helped him a little bit with the Joe. I was thinking about moving to the United States, but there was two things that pretty much
He won't come here because Biden is president.
no, it's got nothing to do with that. But okay, two things can that plan of mine. One of them is health system. It is absolutely a sham, to be actually honest. I'll get better health cover over here in Australia than what I do over in the US. But the biggest thing, or the biggest sour taste I got in the United States is with, as everybody was aware of, what I had with the US Embassy with just the visitor visa. I hate to be moving over to the United States and needing urgent support from a government department of any kind and being stuck with nothing. At least over here we don't get that problem. But over there, when it took me 14 months to fix up a computer glitch from their side, when I went up to the embassy up here after 14 months, got up there, it took us 10 minutes to sort out the problem, which could have been done over the phone. That gave me a sour taste. And when I seen what some of you people are going through over in the United States, it's like, you're going to get stuck. You're going to get stranded. You know, I have a better option here. I have been looking in property. Look, now that I know what my payout's going to, an estimate of my payout's going to be from my accident, don't worry, I'll still be coming to the United States. I'll be coming over there on a regular basis. But my main home is going to be here. But if you can understand, look, I've just had my teeth removed. How much did it cost me? Nothing. How much is my dentures going to cost me? Nothing. Because it's all in our medical system. Now, would the American government provide me this type of assistance over there? No. Now, if you was an American, like you as an American, if you were over here as a permanent resident, you'd be entitled to the same care as what I'm getting. If I have an accident or a heart attack or stroke or break an arm or break a leg, I can go straight into hospital and they'll look after me. Over in America, if you get sick, they go, are you insured? Have you got money to pay for your treatment? Over here, no, you don't have that. We'll treat you, and then we worry about the rest later. But if you're a resident or a citizen or whatnot, you don't pay for any of it. Yeah, you do have a little bit of a levy every year. If you don't use it, you get that back. So I'm better off over here than I am in the United States. Oh, shut up, Papa John. Yeah, we know it charges. Yeah, very expensively too. So at the end of the day, I'm safer off here. I'm safer off over here. If, say, for example, I cannot over here. If I lose my job, at least over here, the government will give us. It's not much, but they'll give us some sort of assistance. It's challenging for them, but they will help you out here. Go to Mexico, walk in, then you will get it all for free, but you'll get more than just medical treatment for free down there, Joe. I've been to Tijuana. I know what goes on down there. I don't want to be stuck and stranded in. I don't want to be stuck and stranded in a country I'm not from. And with us being allies, Australia being one of the biggest allies, to be treated like they did with me, it's shameful. It's shameful for what they do. So no, I'm not coming over here. I'll be investing in that because that is going to be my retirement plan. But I can do the thing where when it gets too cold over there, I can come over here. When it gets too cold over here, I can go back over to the United States. I've got 2 homes. So you guys will still see my ugly face over there in person. Yeah. But where I'm looking at moving is west from here towards the outback. There's a lot cheaper property. I'd have money left over to do what my other ventures were. So that's what I'm going to do.
Nothing wrong with that.
No, in my area, I wouldn't mind staying in this area, but it's just got way too expensive. It's got way too expensive. Property prices have gone through the roof. To get something decent or something like what I'm in now, you're looking close to $800,000-$900,000, close to $1 million. I'm not going to spend that much money on a house when you can get the same thing on a farm acre for about $200,000-$300,000. I don't want to hear what the next door neighbours are doing to each other.
Right. You pay all that money, and the people are right on top of you.
Yeah. But with what I got, I'll be able to come out of the United States once everything's sorted. I'll be able to go over there at the drop of a hat.
Right.
So
as long as your passport's.
No, that's fine now. That's all sorted. My passport's fine. The visa's sorted out. As I said, they got sorted out in 10 minutes, and they stamped everything else. Now I've got a 5-year visa, which works out better than a visa waiver. I'm just shy of being a resident, so
yeah.
I can come there as a visitor. I can come there as a on business too. Hop along the road. You're coming out to give me a hand with it, Ray. Once Tammy lets you off the leash from over there, you're coming over here. And she told you that. We've already got the crate for you, crate made up for you.
Isn't there a walkabout there?
Walkabout?
Yeah, walkabout.
A walkabout is going for a walk.
Yeah.
Yeah, walkabout is like you're just going for a walk to nowhere. You know, you're going out exploring. That's walkabout.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's what the term walkabout is. There is Walkabout Creek. Yeah, there is one, but that's up north. But yeah, that's pretty remote. I wouldn't. Nah, too remote. A long walk. That's the one, Mystic. A long walk to nowhere.
Long walk to nowhere.
A long walk to nowhere. I haven't done a walkabout for a while. Yeah, where's the other? Where's the other stooge? He must be working back a bit tonight, by the sounds of it.
Who's that?
Daryl.
Oh, I don't know. He's probably busy working.
Yeah.
That's all right.
It's all right.
Yeah, Plumber texted me, said he's on date night tonight, so he said
Now, which wife is he going out with tonight?
I don't know. I don't ask those questions.
He'll watch it later on. He goes, "You guys are getting me into trouble." Yeah, of course we are.
Yeah, I don't. Like I said, I don't ask those kind of questions.
Yeah, I don't have that problems too. Yeah, to the Roo Railways. That's not a bad name there, Jim. That's not a bad name for a railroad, but no, I already got the name for mine. Anyway,
the Roo Railway.
Roo, yeah.
That's your new sticker.
No, I'm keeping to my logo. I'm going to keep that. It's unique, and just having that T-shirt when I'm walking out about in around here, people are liking my logo, so I'm going to stick to it. Where I've got the half in the diagonal with the half Australian, half.
Good night, Joe. Thanks for stopping in. Appreciate it.
Thanks, Joe. Yeah, I'm going to have to get going too because it's warmed up a tad outside, but it is a bit coolish. I do want to get
what?
It's gone a bit coolish. It's a bit cool outside at the moment.
Okay.
Warmed up a tad.
I thought you warmed up to 10.
No, warmed up a tad, just a little bit. So anyway, I'm going to get going. Thanks for having me up.
No problem.
See you on the weekend.
Yeah, I might as well shut down too because I've talked enough tonight. And hope everybody has a great evening with the left of it. And I do appreciate everybody stopping in. And I've been looking at all the chat going on here tonight.
Yeah,
it's been.
Joe, I'll never wake up if I go to have my beauty sleep.
Yeah. So it's supposed to be 102 here tomorrow. Holy smokes.
Hey, nice.
Yeah. Oh, that's out in the Midwest. 15 minutes. Randall. So that's it. So I'm going to say goodnight to everyone. And we'll see you all soon. I think. No, I'm not even going to say who's on next week. Plummer is?
Yep, yeah. Plummer's on next week.
Yeah, Plummer's on next week. So don't forget to watch him. And tomorrow night at 6 o'clock, we got Jim Tedesco. And I don't remember who's after him. But and then Friday night, don't forget to stop in and say hello to Vinny. And then Saturday, stop in and say hello to Artie. Then
we do have Dave from Crooked River in the morning with a cup of coffee.
Oh yeah, the morning brew on Thursday morning, right?
Yep, yeah. He says he's shouting coffee to everybody and donuts in the morning, cream donuts in the morning.
Hey, I'm off. Maybe I'll watch that tomorrow. I'm not, I'm off, so I can watch it. Normally at that time of the day, I'm at work already. I can't watch it. I mean, I could watch things at work, but then people would, the volume, I'd have to keep it down real low, and I won't be able to hear things.
Yeah, well, I'll be up for that because I've got me working on the rant house tonight, so I'll be up for that.
I sit in an office area where there's 4 people, desks, but they all face the wall. Everybody faces the wall, but you still still can turn around and see what's on the guy's computer. So I kind of, once in a while I connect to my computer from the work on my home computer, and I work on my JMRI stuff from work, and when I have time, because a lot of my work, I start something going and it takes hours before it finishes. So
Yeah.
I don't, and once it's done, then I go back and do that.
Mm.
I get to play around a little bit, but that's it. So
Yeah, you can.
yeah.
Anyway,
All right.
thank you, mate. Great show. Thank you very much. And
Good night, everyone.
catch up to you later.
See you all soon. Take care.
Okay. Bye-bye.
And broadcast.